Welcome to the Two Beans in a Pod by Shamie and Haley. Before we get started with today's deep exploration, we really need to take a moment. The tragedy unfolding in Central Texas, it's just immense. Our hearts, will they truly go out to all the families who've lost loved ones in these awful flash floods, especially the children, the counselors from the summer camps. It's unimaginable grief. We join Pope Leo XIV and really everyone in offering our deepest condolences and prayers to everyone affected. So today, our deep dive, it's dedicated to trying to understand why. Why did this catastrophic event happen in Central Texas, specifically around the Guadalupe River between July 4th and 5th, 2025? Our mission here is really to unpack the science, the factors, the unique circumstances that all came together to create something so unprecedented, so devastating. We want to go beyond just the headlines, try to really grasp the forces at play. And as of today, July 6, 2025, those rescue and recovery efforts, they're still very much ongoing. It paints a really somber picture. The scale of it all is just heartbreaking. We've seen reports, describing how the Guadalupe River, usually this beloved part of the hill country near Kerrville, stretching out towards Austin and San Angelo, how it swelled with this terrifying, almost unbelievable speed. Just yesterday, Friday, the initial reports were saying at least 27 people killed.
Yeah, and that number, it's climbed so tragically.
It really has. Now, standing at a devastating 59 people, 38 adults, 21 children. Just awful.
And they're still searching?
Still searching. Holding out hope for 11 girls from Camp Mystic and one counselor who are still missing. And the community's mourning leaders, too, like Dick Eastland from Camp Mystic, Jane Ragsdale from Heart O' the Hills Camp. Pillars of the community gone. And the physical damage, it's just shocking. You see homes ripped from foundations, wreckage everywhere, huge trees just torn up.
Cars underwater, roofs gone.
Exactly. Roofs completely ripped away, living buildings exposed. It's a scene of, utter destruction. Hard to process, really.
It really is. And, to really get a sense of the power involved, we have to talk about the water itself, the force the Guadalupe unleashed. It's just astonishing. We're talking about the river swelling by, get this, 20 feet in less than 2 hours.
20 feet in under 2 hours.
Yeah. Think about that. Like a 20-foot vertical rise, almost 3 stories high, happening in the time it takes to, watch a short movie. It's hard to even visualize that kind of speed, that inundation.
Oh, wow.
And locals, people like James and Lisa Allison in Kerrville, they described it as just overwhelming, like being engulfed. Brian Rubino, he's a retired firefighter, saw a park pavilion, roof totally torn off, and he just said, this thing hit so fast. People underestimate Mother Nature all the time. And he really hit on something crucial there.
Yeah.
This wasn't just a flood, it was a flash flood, a historic one. People are comparing it to that 87 flood, which was also terrible.
I remember hearing about that one.
Right. But even that comparison, many are saying now, it might not fully capture just the sheer speed and ferocity of this event. It seems almost unprecedented.
Okay, so let's unpack that then, because that kind of rapid, devastating rise, it doesn't just happen from a normal storm, right? What exactly brewed this catastrophic weather system over Central Texas? What pushed the Guadalupe so far so fast?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't just one thing.
It sounds like sources are calling it a nasty pairing, like a really unlucky combination of conditions.
Exactly. A nasty pairing is a good way to put it. You had this convergence. You had very deep tropical moisture pooling in the atmosphere.
Okay.
Then you had the remnants, sort of the leftover energy from what used to be Tropical Storm Barry.
Barry.
And the critical piece.
Yeah.
A low-pressure system that just got stuck, stalled out right over the area.
So it just sat there, dumping rain.
Pretty much. The synergy, the combination of those things led to an incredible amount of rain. We're talking up to 20 inches near Austin and San Angelo in some spots.
20 inches? That's more rain than some places see in months, isn't it? Falling in just hours.
Exactly. And, what the National Weather Service's analysis really shows is how these elements combine so effectively, especially right over Kerr County. Jason Runyon, he's an NWS meteorologist, he explained it really well. He talked about high amounts of moisture for this time of year, some near records of moisture vertically into the atmosphere.
So the air was just loaded.
Loaded, like a sponge, completely saturated. Then you add in the remnants of a mid-level disturbance from what used to be Tropical Storm Barry. Now, Barry didn't hit directly, but its leftover energy, this swirl high up, it provided the lift.
Okay, so the moisture was there, and Barry's remnants basically forced it upwards.
Precisely, forcing it to condense really rapidly. Runyon said that combo led to very heavy rainfall, especially over Kerr County. And Kerr County is basically the bullseye for the Guadalupe River Basin's headwaters.
Ah, so all that rain fell right where it would feed directly into the river.
Exactly. It had nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Straight into the river, its tributaries, causing those unbelievable rises downstream. Hunt, Kerrville, Comfort, all hit hard. And what's really telling about the intensity, the flood was apparently so powerful it affected or washed out entirely some of the river gauges.
Whoa, it destroyed the instruments meant to measure it.
Kind of seems that way. Like the force erased our ability to track its peak in real time. It just highlights how when these different atmospheric events combine, they don't just add up. They seem to multiply their destructive power in ways our models sometimes struggle to predict. It's a sobering reminder about extreme weather.
Yeah, it really makes the challenge clear. And, okay, here's where it gets, well, really interesting and honestly pretty frustrating for a lot of people. With such a massive, sudden flood, the big question everyone's asking is, were there adequate warnings?
It's always the question after something like this.
You hear the public frustration, people feeling caught off guard,
Yeah.
and then you hear the official side, and there seems to be a bit of a disconnect, maybe?
Well, it's complex.
Right. So the National Weather Service did issue a flood watch. That was July 3rd. They forecast up to 7 inches overnight.
Okay, 7 inches?
But as we just discussed, the actual totals were way higher. Up to 12 inches, even 20 in some spots. Dramatically more than forecast.
Right.
And then some areas, Kerrville on Friday, Burnett on Saturday, they were put under a rare flash flood emergency. And listeners, you should know, this isn't just your standard flash flood warning. An emergency means something much more serious.
Yeah, it signifies potential for, like, catastrophic damage, widespread destruction, even loss of life expected. It's the highest alert level.
Exactly. But then you hear from local officials on the ground. Dalton Rice, the Kerrville city manager, he noted the flooding happened incredibly fast. Within an hour or 2-hour period, he said.
That kind of speed is the killer with flash floods.
And Rob Kelly, the Kerr County judge, he was very direct. He emphasized, we do not have a warning system on the river. We didn't know this flood was coming.
No specific river warning system.
No,
Okay.
yeah. We have floods all the time, but not this kind. And that last part really hits home, right? They're used to high water, but not this. Not this fast, this high.
Yeah, and this really does raise that critical question about the effectiveness of our current warning technology and infrastructure, especially in places like the Texas Hill Country, which are just naturally prone to flash floods because of the terrain.
Right, the water channels quickly.
Exactly. And, you know, there's been some commentary on this. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, for instance, she directly blamed the lack of maybe more severe localized alerts on what she called the NWS's outdated technology.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she even mentioned mass layoffs under the Trump administration at the NWS,
Yeah.
suggesting maybe a broader issue there. Now, we're just reporting what was said, of course.
Of course, presenting the information.
But it highlights this ongoing debate about preparedness, right? Yeah. And the very real challenges in predicting these super rapid, intense events. Especially, as Judge Kelly pointed out, if you don't have dedicated warning systems on every single critical river.
It seems like these hyper-flash floods, as some might call them, demand something more.
Yes, exactly. It suggests maybe a need for a shift towards more real-time, really localized alert systems, something that can react almost as fast as the water itself. It definitely underscores the need for investment, in infrastructure and forecasting that can handle these extreme events that kind of defy the old patterns.
Yeah. Amidst all this, the devastation, the questions, there are also these incredible stories emerging, human stories of survival, resilience, and just this amazing community response.
Absolutely. You always see that strength shine through.
So far, about 850 people rescued. That's just a huge number. Testament to the first responders, the volunteers.
Heroic efforts, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we heard that story Congressman Chip Roy shared about the little girl from Camp Mystic found safe after floating on a mattress for 3 hours.
Incredible, just imagine.
The terror and then the relief. And we're also, still watching the search for those college seniors missing near a camp. It's a reminder the human impact is still unfolding. State, local, federal agencies, hundreds of people out there, helicopters, boats, searching the riverbanks, the debris. A massive effort.
Coordinated effort, yeah.
And support coming from everywhere. Pope Leo XIV's condolences, we mentioned. Pop star Shakira donating concert money to Catholic charities for relief. It really shows how people rally.
It really does. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, what really stands out, even looking at the wreckage, is that resilience, that fiercely hopeful outlook in these communities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Despite everything, you hear people like Mary Stone, a teacher in Kerrville. She saw cars and trees, asphalt ripped up where she parks. Described it as unsettling, naturally. But then she said, I know that we'll move forward. That's how this community is.
Wow, that's powerful.
Isn't it? And Ricky Pedraza from Comfort, he echoed that. Said Kerrville will bounce back. All these little hill country towns, they will bounce back. So that deep community spirit, plus the federal disaster declarations, the aid becoming available, temporary housing, repairs, loans, it all provides that crucial foundation for what's going to be a long recovery, no doubt, but a determined one. It's a reminder, isn't it?
Yeah.
And nature can be devastating, but that human spirit to rebuild, to heal, it's incredibly powerful too.
It truly is. Hey, listener, just jumping in quickly, if you're finding this deep dive informative, maybe even engaging, please take just a second to hit that like button and subscribe. It genuinely helps us bring you more of these explorations. Okay, so just to sort of recap where we are, this catastrophic flash flood in central Texas, it really boils down to that nasty pairing of deep tropical moisture, berries remnants, and that stuck low-pressure system.
A perfect storm, unfortunately.
Yeah. Dumping unprecedented rain up to 20 inches, causing the Guadalupe to surge, 20 feet in under 2 hours.
Astonishing numbers.
And this whole devastating event has really pushed these critical questions about warnings to the forefront. You know, the adequacy of current systems, the technology, the challenges local officials face predicting such rapid events and getting alerts out in time.
Absolutely. And, thinking about this disaster, it really underscores how these unprecedented, almost hyper-local extreme events, they're increasingly challenging our old ideas of normal weather, right? And our traditional disaster preparedness.
Yeah, it feels like the goalposts are shifting.
It does. And it raises a really urgent question, I think, for all communities, especially those in flood-prone areas anywhere in the world. How do we adapt? How do we innovate our warning systems, our infrastructure, even just public awareness, when the speed and intensity of these disasters seem to be hitting new levels we haven't really foreseen, often hitting very specific localized areas?
That's a heavy question.
It is. It's kind of a profound call, maybe, to reevaluate our assumptions and really focus on building much more resilient, much more responsive systems for a future where, well, maybe the unexpected becomes a bit more common than we'd like.
A sobering but really important thought to end on. Thank you for listening to Two Beans in a Pod. And hey, if you want to support more deep dives like this one, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. We really do appreciate your support.